We got a new camera shot at the start of Raw because now not only do we see wrestlers arriving at the building, but we see fans putting their butts in the seats. Which means I bet soon it's just going to cut to you in your house as you stuff your face with Cheetos and go, why does Raw have to be 3 hours? Of course, hello my friends, and that's right, it's another ups and downs from a flipping hotel room. I mean, I know you're probably going, Simon, you travel too much, and I totally agree with you. We just need to calm down. But you know what never calms down? The finger of power. And given we said that word, we just did get Raw. Let's give the good bits an up. And the bad bits are down. There was loads of teasing at the start too because we did see Bianca, Belair and Jade Cargill arrive at the arena. And do you know who was chatting in the background? Sonya Deville and Natalya. Dun dun dun. We also saw JD McDonough and Finn Bálor. And JD whispered something to Finn. And I like to think he went, did you ever understand the ending to Lost? I'd be like, JD, I totally agree with you. We also saw a recap of last week when Dominik Mysterio accidentally helped Liv Morgan retain the title, and this tied in, the brand new champ came to the ring. Now she did indeed welcome us to the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, as that's a really weird thing to do. Batman wouldn't do that. You wouldn't go to Wayne Manor and he'd be like, somebody killed my parents, and Alfred would bust in and be like, Bruce, why can't you talk about anything else? We have definitely gone off pace. She is on a roll though, because not only did she take out Becky Lynch, but she also took out Rhea Ripley, and then she got to have a little kissy kiss with Dominik Mysterio. And then she was all like, do you know how many views that did on social media? And I was like, if anyone does know that number, and they're not her, they need to do more with their life. Mysterio then walked out as per Wrestling Rule 14.8 because his name had been said a lot of times. It's like, Liv, you totally crazy. When Rhea Ripley comes back, she's going to kill you. So he needs to be arrested. Whacker 1 on the crime counter. You can't do attempted murder via your voice. Imagine she did too. Ripley just came back and broke Liv Morgan's neck. That is dark stuff. Liv was fine about this because she believes when Rhea Ripley does return, she's probably going to murder Dominik Mysterio too because he is involved. When she basically cornered him and Dom was a bit like, I don't know what's going on here. But this is when Finn Bálor and that, and he was like, everybody calm down. I don't like this at all. I'm like, this condom, he is most definitely in on it too. It's a ruse. Liv then left because of course her work is done. She has planted those seeds. I just want to say bravo to WWE because I find this story really intriguing and somehow it is going to tie into Damian Priest being kicked out of that group. At the moment, that doesn't even make any sense. But I am giving it up. It has me intrigued. Sheamus then told Jackie Redmond he was going to kill Ludwig Kaiser later. It's like there's a lot of murder on this show. He's also decided that maybe Ludwig Kaiser was better than he was expecting, and Gunther has been holding him back because he should be with Bowser instead. Would you say nothing when he reminded us, hey, I've been in the WWE 15 years, half to banger, half to banger, half to banger. It was gibberish. It just came out of mouth, but he's had a load of good matches, so why doesn't he walk to the ring and have another one? And this is when the camera followed him, and I really enjoyed this because he got halfway up the aisleway and Ludwig was here and he chop blocked his leg. I think he even spat on Sheamus at one point, which is disgusting. But when he did start seeking in these boos because he was having a great time, Sheamus tried to get back into this, but no, that didn't work because Kaiser threw him into Simba the Steel Steps and he threw him into Rhea the ring post. And I was like, well, that guy's totally murked. The Irishman then did fight back a little bit until Ludwig went after the knee again. And of course, this is what Sheamus has been struggling with the last few weeks, which is when the referee was like, well, we're just going to have to stop the match. I was like, why do all officials want to do this? It's the whole point of wrestling. Finish the guy. Of course, Sheamus said, no way, man, while he also shouted, is that all you've got? When these two engaged in battle like warriors of yesteryear. I don't know what we're talking about. Sheamus then did have it 1-2 when his leg fell away from the other side of his leg because he wasn't able to do the bro kick. And even when he tried to do an avalanche white noise, I tell you, Ludwig just grabbed him, went after his wound. The poor Irishman just crumpled up on the floor when Kaiser essentially hit a version of the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, and he pinned him. Now listen, that wasn't an anticlimactic ending, but I thought it worked so well, Ludwig may as well look right in the camera and go, I figured it out, I am Professor Layton. Commentators did a great job too, because they acted like Ludwig just beat Santa Claus, so I'm massively intrigued to see where this is going to go. And again, Ludwig Kaiser just beat Sheamus. That ain't something to sniff at. Damian Priest then must have got word about what happened earlier. He was not happy. He found the Judgment Day and Finn Bálor was like, don't worry, we're going to take care of it. When he turned to Dom, he was like, yeah, have you taken care of it with Rhea Ripley? Now, Mysterio said that he had. I don't think he's telling the truth. Priest sort of accepted this though when he reminded them, oh man, let's go show everyone why Judgment Day runs Monday Night Raw. I was like, bro, you ain't running nothing as of late. In fact, you've been having a pretty bad time. When we did the same thing as last week, kind of made me laugh. Poor Ricochet, he's always in the trainer's room. Excuse me, local medical facility warm-up area. Or wound area, I don't know. This is when Ilya Dragunov walked in though. He was basically like, bro, you are not well. When he became a really bad friend, he's like, listen, I get it. You and I both live on the edge. Not Adam Copeland, he's gone to AEW, and we need to do this stuff. I was like, I'm sorry, it's just really bad advice. Why can't these people rest? Ilya was trying to warn him off fighting Braun Breaker later, which when Rick was like, if I can walk, I can fight, which is not true. He actually promised that he was going to defeat Breaker. I was like, listen, I'm an idiot, and even I can see how this is gonna go. Ricochet still tried to explain to Dragunov why he had to do this, and of course Ilya did understand. When Ricky was all like, I'm gonna knock that fake tan off him. I was like, Ricochet, what are you doing, man? Why would you want to wind him up? Then got a Dragon Lee video, which I think we did need, because man, he got called up ages ago. I think I still had hair at the time, so we do need to heat him up again. He had a match and he lost. Damn. Now, to be fair, this was to Finn Balor, so it's a bit like, Dragon, you shouldn't have spent your whole week editing that video. I can't get mad at it though, because Finn Balor winning is like Christmas. It only happens one time a year, and of course, he had all the help courtesy of Distraction. JD McDonagh was going nuts. Eventually, Lee chased him away, which I totally understand because he is a dragon. When Finn went for the Spling Blade, but Dragon Lee turned it into a bomb of power. That's pretty flipping good. McDonagh then got on the apron, and the ref was like, why are you making my life so hard? When Carlito was here too, and I'm sorry, the official must have seen all of this, unless he was walking around with his eyes closed, and if he is doing that, he shouldn't be a referee anymore. I'm pretty sure when you go to referee school, it's rule number 1, you have to keep your eyes open. Carlito too made sure that he crotched Dragon Lee's penis right into the ropes, although that's very good for historians, because now we know, if you are one of these dragons, you do have a groin. Thankfully, Dragon Lee did take all of these guys out, and he super kicked JD right in the face, but we do have to give it a down, because this is to the finish. Even though the referee could see all these shenanigans, of course Lee got back in the ring and Balor was like, all right, he smacked him one and he hit the coup de grace and he got the 1, 2, 3. And I understand the Judgment Day never laid their hands on Dragon Lee, but it clearly was a negative for him. So yeah, that's when the down comes in. But again, Finn Balor winning and this match in general was so damn fun. They're such good wrestlers. Let's get it up. Of course, they attacked him too afterwards when Braun, Strowman and Rey Mysterio made the save. And I was pointing my finger at these guys. I was like, where were you 2 minutes ago? Still though, I was a big fan of this. And again, Dragon Lee, man, he got all the skills. Sami Zayn was then strolling backstage, and I actually realised maybe that is when Sonya Deville and Natalya were having a chat, so I may have been confused here when we were back with Damian Priest and the Judgment Day. Because he had an idea for Carlito, given that he does keep dropping the ball. Why don't you challenge Braun Strowman to a match later, and if you do get the win, maybe you can join us. Although you won't, so you won't be in. Bálor and JD thought this was hilarious too, when R-Truth turned up. He's like, Carlito, man, I get it, these guys, they beat you down, they beat you down, they beat you down, then they treat you and they beat you down again. But now that I think about it, it was the best time of my life. I was like, man, Truth, I'm actually in love with you. Camera then panned out too, and the Miz was looking at him like, excuse me, you're the tag team champion right now. This should be the best time of your life. Some people don't like this stuff, but I sat there and it made me chuckle. Not all wrestling needs to be super duper serious. And you know the 4 words, goofy wrestling for life. Then Sami Zayn finally got to the ring and he was so happy to be back in Pennsylvania because that is where he won the Intercontinental Championship. But ever since WrestleMania, he can't enjoy this because of the goober known as Chad Gable. He wants to sort it right now, so we told Chad to get to the ring. We did get his music, but it was the rest of the Alpha Academy that walked out, and I'm sorry, but all of this is so damn good. Maxine Dupree was like, I'm gonna have to read you a note that Chad has written here, and even though Sam was like, you don't need to read me the note, Dupree did. It was the most horrible note ever. Because one, he thinks Tozawa is absolute moron, and before he took him under his wing, he was just running around pretending to be a fake ninja. Otis is also a massive loser who lost his money in the bank briefcase, so we were going way back when. Whereas when it comes to Maxine, and don't forget, she had to read this, she is nothing but a wannabe Barbie. And I was like, man, Gable, you are a horrible, horrible man. Chad also wants an Intercontinental title shot at the pay-per-view premium live event, Clash of the Castle, and Sammy agreed to this to get it done. So that changes my predictions. I had this down for SummerSlam. This, of course, was all a big old trick because Chad Gable then did attack Sami Zayn from behind, but this is when it got so damn good because the storytelling here has been done so perfectly, I suppose. All the crowd were desperate for Otis to attack this moron, and you just know eventually he will do, and wherever they are, the place will explode. Eventually, Gable was so pissed off about this, he was saying, Otis, you better smack Sami Zayn, but Otis wouldn't do it, so Chad gave him a hit instead, and I actually thought you could have done the turn this evening, but we didn't, and that's okay. Continue to build. Now they couldn't take any more, and he was trying to separate them, but he got thrown out the way when Maxine was like, why can't we stop? We're meant to be a family. It was actually quite harrowing to watch, because they're all just falling into the river. Chad then made Dupree get down on her knees to beg if she wanted this to calm down, which she did do, because she was desperate. And this is when we did the mega tease for Otis. He was like, enough is enough. Thing is though, Zayn then tried to use this to get revenge, but we had dominoes here, because he pushed Chad Gable, who hit Otis, who fell into Maxine Dupree and Tozawa, who were on the apron, and they fell down onto the floor. I think Otis then freaked out a little bit, so he did get rid of Sami Zayn with the world's strongest slam, as Chad Gable was like, I'm going to be the Intercontinental Champion. And seriously, there is about 9 different ways you could go at Clash of the Castle, and one of them could be Chad Gable winning, and then down the line, maybe at SummerSlam, do you know who should eventually, especially in 2024, become the Intercontinental Champion? Otis. If we are going to go in, let's just go in. And again, these 3 can pass that potato around for all I care. Got that the wrong way around. Pass this title around like it is a hot potato. But this is some of the best stuff throughout all of WWE, because we're being patient, we're taking our time, and we're building new stars up. We were then in the back with Adam Pearce and Bron Breakker, who had been watching this. And Bron was basically like, what a bunch of losers. And you know what? I can beat Sami Zayn. So there it is, my friend. The first tease. Breakker is eventually going to go after that title. Breakker then said, well done to Adam, because finally you booked me in a match I'm worthy of. When Pearce was like, no, you absolute moron. The only reason I've done this is because Ricochet asked for it, and you should be at home being suspended. I was like, well, why is it? You run the show, Adam Pearce. Why the flub are you listening to Ricochet? They then yelled at each other, though, and Breakker promised he was going to destroy everyone. And I tell you, this use of Bron so far has been so good. I'm enjoying this slow burn. Gable was then congratulating his now gaslit team, because he was being all nice to Maxine Dupree. And trust me, he didn't mean it. Because he acted like, oh, you fell down, but you didn't really fall down. And Maxine was like, yes, I did. You hurt me, Chad Gable, because once again, you're a horrible, horrible man. He also didn't care about Tozawa at all when he said they were going to win the Intercontinental Champion. And the only question I have for you, my friends, is this. Why the hell did it take so long to turn Chad Gable heel? He is really good at it. As is Bron Breakker for different reasons. It was him versus Ricochet, and this totally rocked. Rick used his speed to surprise Bron to begin with, when Breakker was like, no, I can kill a man. And he just hit him with his clothesline. And if he had pinned Ricochet, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. Breakker then held Ricky into the corner when he looked at Samantha and Irvin, because he was doing a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But that actually delayed him a little bit when Ricochet came back with the Lion Salt 1-2-0. He also got the super kick and the recall, and we were kind of selling this like Bron Breakker was going so hard he was leaving gaps, when he totally sorted that out, because Ricochet went to the top of Tina the Turnbuckle when Bron Breakker, who is not a small man, just jumped up there and he hit a Hurricane Rana. I was like, bro, you are a cheat code. You are the human definition of 2 + 2 = potato, because you don't make no sense. He then hit the spear for the win, and I was like, thank goodness for that, because if something before this was a Hurricane Rana from the top rope and you're Bron Breakker, then absolutely should lead to the end. He lost it after this because he was going to use Simba the Steel Steps to finish off Ricochet when officials tried to stop him. But you know the deal with officials. They're absolutely useless. Thankfully, Ilya Dragunov did make the save, as Bron Breakker promised, well, I'm not done with either of you. Seriously, let him beat Ilya, let him beat Ricochet, let him beat everybody on the roster, and just make him the champion. He has got the goods, my friends. Let's get it up. Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega then found Dragon Lee and was like, don't worry, Dragon, you would have won if it wasn't for those meddling kids or the Judgment Day. I was like, guys, that happened like 90 minutes ago. Why didn't you find him straight after? The issue, of course, is Damian Priest, because he's sticking his oar in, which is Ray is like, well, as it turns out, I do have a match with him later, and I'm gonna finish him off for good. Jackie was then with Kiana James after this, because she is finally making her in-ring debut. It is against Natalya, and of course at the moment apparently she doesn't have a brand new WWE contract, so let's make sure we offer her one. This is why she is so damn good, because you can put her with anybody, even the so-called noobs, and you know she's gonna get a good match out of them. James also promised us this was the first stop as she makes her way to the top. I was like, well, that did rhyme, so you're probably telling the truth. It was good timing as well, because then she did take on Natalya. It went about 2 minutes. I mean, it was fine. I suppose it is good, because again, if you are going to call somebody up from NXT, you do need to establish them. So she got hit with a German suplex, and then Natalya tried to lock in the sharpshooter, but James kind of did a wiggle jiggle. She got out of it, and she hit the 401k, I think it's called, and she got the 1, 2, 3, as Michael Cole's like, she's part of the 1%. It definitely did not make that noise. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, and would your family even care? And yes, there were a few little miscommunications here, but it is Kiana James' first night on Raw. She probably had the heebie-jeebies in her tum-tum. I would, and again, I think it's the victory that matters here. Getting up. Kathy Kelly then found the New Day. She was like, what the flub is going on with Karrion Kross? Good question. Xavier Woods promised us that whatever it is they do not care, as Kofi Kingston was like, man, we're the New Day, we are the best. And I was like, damn it, Kofi, you are. I mean, so many teams over the years have tried to stop them and failed, which is why the AOP will fail too. When Karrion Kross popped up again, and he is still being a manipulator. Because he was saying that the power of positivity is dead when Kofi shut him down like a SNES game. He was like, you don't know what you're talking about, Karrion. Why don't you get out of here? Just as they left, though, Karrion did grab Xavier. He was like, man, you don't need that guy. And this was the first time that we teased, maybe it's getting into Woods' head. This is really good, though, and it's very, very subtle. And again, I think it's Karrion Kross's best work since he's been on the main roster. So let's keep it going. This is when we did see Natalya and Sonya Deville found her again. She dropped the Owen Hart line. She was like, listen, enough is enough and it's time for a change. Deville then spied Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark and once again wanted to be in their corner. And this time even Zoey was like, we don't need you, son. Why don't you get out of here? I mean, they just want to focus on Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill because they are the #1 contenders. So I'm going to change my booking once again. I would take all of these people and I would throw them into a big old group because I think that some of their parts will be stronger as they are as individuals at the moment. And also, the men have about 72,464 groups. Why can't we have at least one for the women? Or two, there is damage control. When Braun Strowman murdered Carlito. Oh dear. I mean, Bálor and JD tried to help, but they failed miserably. And even though Carlito tried for the backstabber, that didn't work. So Braun looked at him and just snapped him in two and pinned him for the 3. I mean, this couldn't have gone longer than a minute. Now, we did get a story here because the Judgment Day tried to attack him afterwards, including Dominik Mysterio with a chair. But Braun was just like, nah, brah. And he punched right through it. Bless Dommy, as he sold this like he was gonna die, when Liv Morgan walked out to protect him. And I was like, man, this condom, he totally understands his character. And this did work because then Strowman was like, well, what do I do now? Which is when the Judgment Day got him again. And as soon as Liv tried to close in on Dom, Finn Balor was going, what did I tell you earlier? Not allowed to. And now I don't trust this Finn either. I think he's in on it. I absolutely love this chaos though, even though right now I have no idea what the long-term plan for Braun Strowman is. But I guess he's getting involved with the Judgment Day. Why not? Still, it's hooked me up. As a Carlito fan though, I do always have his back. He just gets absolutely ruined every single week on his roster. So I'm going full on nerd here, and it's getting it down. Can we just give him a win? Thank you very much. This is when we saw Chad Gable talking to the Creeds again, and they are so going to help him win the Intercontinental Championship. And Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill were here. I mean, they are the tag champs. Zoey and Shayna also popped up too, and they were amazed that these people would grace them with their presence when they were basically like, well, again, you're here, we're here, why don't we do the flipping tag match right now? You can believe it too, Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark then won the championships. Of course, I'm kidding, they didn't. This ended in a DQ. Now, Belair did have the win after the KOD, which is when Isla Dawn and Alba Fire attacked. And how does that make any sense? It was like, if you want a tag team title match, why would you care who holds the belts? And actually, it would have made more sense if you had allowed them to pin Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark, because they're now out of the way and they're done. But now they can be like, well, we deserve another fight because we just got screwed. Cargill then got ruined as well because all the bad guys teamed up on her, but we made sure that Shayna and Zoey looked at Isla and Alba and Fire and Dawn just to make sure you know they're not totally together. I don't know. Now, Isla and Alba did do a promo later where essentially they said, we want to take on Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair at the pay-per-view premium live event. And I do like that because, again, it is Clash of the Castle. They're going to be in Scotland. That's essentially their hometown. I still just think this is all so messy, though, when it comes to the tag team championships. And also, it just doesn't feel like WWE cares enough. Why can't we be more patient? And why can't we book them like we book the rest of Raw when there's like intertwining storylines and some depth to it? All of this just feels like it's happening week by week, and we're making it up as we go along. I really hope that I can be proved wrong, though. I just think everybody involved with this is such top-tier talent. They're not getting the opportunities they do deserve, so I'm giving it a down. Damian preached them being interviewed, and he thinks the Judgment Day has had a terrific night. I was like, bro, you've got a selective memory. But he is taking on Rey Mysterio in the main event, and this guy has always been a thorn in their side. So he's got to go. This is when Drew McIntyre interrupted because we definitely needed this because they're fighting at Clash of the Castle too. And Drew was like, well, you look really happy, Damian. Damian was like, I am happy. I'm the champion. When McIntyre was like, well, your days are numbered, pal. He also wanted to make it clear that he still finds all of this personal, which is why Drew shall win in a couple of weeks. And he should do too, unless he gets screwed over by CM Punk. If you do that in Scotland, my word, the heat. This is when we got a quick Jey Uso promo as well. I'm just going to tell you this. The way the fans react to him makes me warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Now, he talked about how hard things have been over the last year or so because he did lose his family, but the whole reason he keeps going is because of the fans. And again, do you know why he said this? Because Roman's going to be back soon and Jimmy's going to be back soon, and I tell you, they're going to reform and we're going to cry. We then got a super early tease, which again had me doing the dance of joy, because he was like, man, maybe I'll go on to win that Money in the Bank briefcase. And I'm sorry, if he is a contender for this, absolutely put it on him. Once again, it would just make me happy. Also, kind of just want to be his friend, and we cut to the back and Lyra Valkyria was here, and she was like, oh man, Becky Lynch, she's been so good to me, but it does sound like she has gone away for a while. And Kathy Kelly was like, oh yeah, how are you going to deal with the fact she's not here? Which is a horrible question. And Lyra was like, I think I'll be okay. I'm pretty good. It sounded like she was also going to tease that she was going to go after the women's Money in the Bank, when she got hit by Io Sky, who is now totally unhinged. She also threw Valkyria into a box-like structure, so I suppose what we can do now is have these two fight, with the winner becoming the #1 contender. And I'm going to give this an up just for what we did with Jey Uso and what we did with Lyra here. I just like the fact people are already saying, well, I want that briefcase. It's a great way to make sure they stay in the picture, even though they don't have a defined feud right now. When the AOP wrecked the New Day. My gosh, this couldn't have gone more than 2 minutes, and of course Scarlett and Karrion Kross were involved. But when it came to Karrion, he was just talking to Kofi, and Kofi was talking to him when they looked at each other. Because you know, in wrestling, if you do stare off, things are super duper serious. It also meant that Xavier was desperate to get the tag, but Kofi was too late. This is when the AOP went, Kingston, you've totally flubbed it up. They hit him when they hit the what a rush finisher on Xavier Woods, and they pinned him. So this is going to tie into Karrion's plan. He's going to be like, Woods, what did I tell you? Here's one of those times when actually doing a fast match made all the sense in the world, and now we can pretend that the New Day are going to break up, but never break them up. Nobody needs that. It'd be like kicking a puppy out the window. What have you tried to achieve? It's just a horrible thing to do, but in terms of a story, up. When we got to our main event, and it was Damian Priest taking on Rey Mysterio, and this was just good stuff. And Rey is also absolutely crazy because he was still doing acai moonsaults. Well, Damian Priest didn't care about this, and he smashed him with a flatliner. When he went for the big old splash in the corner, though, it turns out Rey's been playing Batman Arkham Asylum too, because he got out the way. That means Priest went right into Tina the Turnbuckle. Rey then scored with the Tornado DDT for a 1-2-ooh, and I suppose there was some jeopardy here, because the title wasn't on the line, and when Damian Priest went for the Razor's Edge, Rey Mysterio was able to turn that into a Hurricane Rana. He also got the 619 and the splash for a 1-2-ooh. I was a bit like, oh my gosh, I thought he was going to do it. When, of course, here came the Judgment Day. It was Carlito at first, and Dragon Lee went and breathed fire onto him, but that's when JD McDonough and Finn Balor was here. Rey Mysterio obviously was like the dad. He was, I'm sick of you guys, and he dived onto him. Just goes to show, though, after all of these years, he hasn't learned how wrestling works, and if you do start paying attention to people on the outside, you forget you're in a wrestling match, you turn around, Damian Priest hit the big old choke slam, uno, dos, tres. Now, Drew McIntyre must have been talking to Scotty from Star Trek here, because he just teleported in so damn fast, and of course he looked at Drew McIntyre, and he beat him up too. The crowd started trying to fit CM Punk as the Judgment Day tried to help out, but Drew McIntyre basically shrugged that off. When he saw Al on the announce table, he was like, damn it, I'm throwing you through it. Like any good heel though, he felt like he had to yell at Michael Cole first, because he didn't appreciate some of the things that he had been saying, which is when Damian took a med pack, and he's like, well, you've made a mistake, Scottish man, and he hurled him through the wood instead. There's also a cool story here, because of course it means that Drew McIntyre hasn't learned from WrestleMania at all, and he does keep getting mad at the wrong people, and it also meant that Raw finished with the Judgment Day standing tall, and we all know it's going to go bad soon. Domi and Liv Morgan and Finn Balor and Damian Priest is going to get kicked out of the whole thing, but in terms of an overall main event segment to make you go, what's going to happen next? Up. And that's how I felt about Raw overall this week. It's quite clear we got Clash at the Castle and SummerSlam soon afterwards, because there's just so much going on. I mean, you could argue there's too many stories, but given that I enjoyed every single one of them, it's getting it up. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought about Raw. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Smack It Down, so we can enjoy all the wrestling reviews. Otherwise, thanks for bearing with me, my friends. We are going back for a while soon, I promise. I just can't keep running around, because I'm a bald idiot. Goodbye.